going to talk a little bit about portraits tonight. And when I was putting the presentation together, I was kind of thinking, what angle do I take? How should I present it? And I thought to myself, what I should do is explain what goes through my mind. What do I look for when I'm taking a portrait? So I've tried to take it from that angle. I'm not going to show you how to take a portrait, where to put the lights, what lights to use, and all that kind of thing. It's more about the thoughts that go through my mind and what I look for as I'm taking the shot or just before I'm taking the photograph. Okay, so the first thing that you have to do is, if you want to take portraits, you must learn to communicate with your model. I know for some people it's not easy, and they get the model in front of them, and all they say is, okay, do your thing. Now, that's very off-putting for a model. If you want to work with a model, you need to communicate with them. So one of the first things I do, and I'm looking mainly at open days now, I tend to try and go to at least one open day a month. And for those of you who don't know open days, it'll be a photographer or a model will get a whole lot of friends together or other models and get a location and then invite photographers to join for the day. And they normally charge about between 250 and 350 Rand for the day. And you get the opportunity to go and work with anywhere between 5 and 8 models on the day. So you have to get a modus operandi when you approach the models. So the first thing to do is introduce yourself and get the model's name and a few brief details. Possibly you want to get their email address, or you just want to ask them to put their mobile number into your phone. And it just breaks the ice a little bit. It feels a bit more personal. If you really want to work with a model in the long term, the model has to be comfortable with you as a photographer. So don't make silly jokes, don't make snide comments, don't be sarcastic. That can come on the 10th time that you photograph the model. But initially, just be very respectful and talk to the model like you would to your wife or to your daughter or something like that. Just on directing your model, to say to a model, do your thing, is not going to work. Most of the models that we work with are not professional models. They are at best semi-professional or interested or passionate about modeling. So you're going to have to direct your model. Now, there's 2 ways of directing your model. Some people will tell them exactly where they want their right finger and how they want their hair done, and where you must push your hip out or don't push your hip out. And they really direct to the nth degree. I don't think that makes for good modeling. I find it's better to let your model create her own pose. And that goes together with the last point there, is maybe show the model a photo and say, this is something I like the atmosphere, I like the vibe, I like the pose, and then ask her to do something similar. She will then create her pose. And after that, you can do small corrections. Don't try and repose her totally. And if she's not giving you what you want, just take the photo anyway. Don't say anything. No, that doesn't look right. You're not getting it right. Just say, wow, that's great. I like that. And take the photo, take a few photos, and then give her another photo to try and that kind of thing. So don't overpose or over direct your model, but do talk to them. I find a good way is to compliment the model, but not in a personal way. Just like, yes, that's great. I love the eyes. The light on the side of your face is looking good. You don't want to say things like, "Wow, you got beautiful hands, little hands," or anything like that. So don't be personal, but keep talking and keep complimenting the model. So that's really important, to talk to your model and to direct her. And even if you're very shy in doing it, force yourself to do it, because your model will not give you anything other than a straight, I don't know what you call these, passport photos, if you don't talk to them and direct them. So please do that. Don't shy away from it. It's something we all have to learn. As a photographer shooting models, you must learn to do that. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you and read all 10 points or whatever. This is what goes through my mind very quickly, and the kind of things that I look at when I speak to a model. I won't read them and go through them, but I will go point by point later on and show you photographs of what I'm trying to explain to you. I will send the presentation to Tina, and possibly you only want the first two slides. You might want to print out the first two slides. The others are just photographs and examples of all of these different points that go through my mind. Okay, let's go through them one by one. Fill the frame with your model. I find so many photographers just stand in the back with a 50mm lens, and they take the entire room, take a photograph of the entire room, and in the middle somewhere or in the corner is a photograph of the model. No, that's not good enough. You've got to walk right up to your model, and you've got to stand in front of everybody else, like Diane does, and take your photos. Fill your frame. In your camera, you want to fill the frame in your camera. You don't want to crop afterwards. You want to get the composition correct right up front, so that you use maximum pixels when you start to edit your photographs. And just to show you, if you look at the one on the left, yes, I've gone up fairly close and so on, but really the impact is more the photograph on the right. So yeah, I'm using the exact same lens. I was using an 85mm lens, and I went right up close. When you're starting out, I would say think of portraits as headshots, and try and get a headshot, get the head to fill the frame of your camera. When you look through the viewfinder, you should see what you want to see on the right-hand side. Yes, there are occasions where you want the left side, but 80% of the time you want what's on the right side. And just walk or zoom in until you get what you see on the right-hand side in your frame. And people, you'll see that they talk about the landscape or portrait. Please use portrait. Turn your camera on its side and walk in and photograph the models as close up as the other photographers will allow you. So yeah, I was saying, start with head and shoulders. Think of it as a headshot. Once you think of it as a headshot as opposed to a portrait, then at least you know what your center of interest has to be, and you're going to go for that headshot.
Cliff,
Yes.
sorry, I had my hand up for a while. Could you go back one, please?
Yes.
I want to ask you a question here. See the model that you've got on the left-hand side of the screen.
Yes.
The shoulder is blurred because of depth of field, and the arm is off quite a lot. I got seriously basted with one of my photos where the arm was cut, and I also see that you cut the top of the head. you don't mind cutting the top of it. So is that acceptable? It's beautiful photos, but I just want to know, is it salon acceptable?
No.
Will you,
Okay,
will you
so what I have to say is these are not club photos and not particularly salon acceptance. I don't get many salon acceptances and so on. These days, for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I've been shooting what I like. And I've been ignoring camera club rules. Now, I know when you're starting out, you all keen to get the best camera club shots or whatever. I try and shoot what I like to try and get the emotion. But you're quite right. If you're going to cut off a limb or an arm or whatever, don't cut or compose don't cut off at the joint of a limb. You must cut halfway between. So you would cut off between the shoulder and the elbow. You would cut off in the middle of that. You wouldn't cut off at the elbow or at the shoulder. The one on the left side is kind of okay, the crop on the left-hand side. The one on the right-hand side wouldn't be acceptable because you've cut off at the joint, at her wrist. So that would, in camera club, that would be a no-no. Cutting off the top of the head would be a no-no for camera club. But I should have explained. I'm not here for camera club. I shoot purely for myself now. I don't enter many salons anymore. I don't do particularly well on salons. They don't particularly like my kind of work. But I shoot for myself.
Thank you.
Okay, focus on the eyes. If you're going to take a portrait, you don't focus anywhere but on one of the eyes. I know the mirrorless cameras now have got eye tracking and spot focusing, so you can move that focus point to on the eye, or you can rely on eye focus, eye tracking, which in most, I would imagine, nearly 100% of the mirrorless cameras will track the eye very, very accurately. So sometimes you get lazy and you don't, if you're used to using a spot focus point, you get lazy, that the model moves slightly and you think, it's on her nose or it's moved to her ear or whatever. You don't take the photo, you don't press the button, you change it to focus on the eyes. Every time, every single shot you take, you must focus on the eyes, nowhere else. You focus on the eyes, especially if you're going to use a very shallow depth of field. You'll see the fall off here is already, I think I was using an 85 1.4. You can already see your ears are going out of focus. So if you focus on her ears, her eyes are going to be out of focus. If you focus on the tip of her nose, her eyes are going to be out of focus. Very often when the model is half looking at me, one eye will be in focus and one eye will be out of focus. For a camera club or whatever, that's a no-no. But then you've got to know that one eye is going to be in focus and one eye is going to be out, and you have to choose the dominant eye, the one that is closest to you. But really, that's what I look for. When I'm taking a photo, focus on the eyes. Okay, I got the focus. What's the next thing I want to look for? Okay, just on focusing on the eyes. When your model is one of the things that I ask the model to do is ask her the pupils of her eyes must be in the same direction at which her nose is facing. So if her nose is facing forward, then look forward, look straight forward. On this shot here, you can see her nose is pointing, I don't know, diagonally across the photograph, but her eyes are looking straight at us. So what you get is a pupil in the corner of her eye, and you get a very bright white, I don't know what you call that other section of her eye. You don't want that. You want her eye to be in the middle so that you get a little bit of white on the left and a little bit of white on the right-hand side. And her pupil must be in the middle of her eye. very often models, you say to them, why don't you just look over there, and you point off towards your right-hand side or whatever. So they will turn their head that way, and then they will still try and look at you with their eyes just to see what's going on. And you've got to say, no, your eyes must follow the direction of your nose. Your nose is not pointing to me, it's pointing 45 degrees. That's where your eyes must go to. So try not get big patches of white in the eyes. Try and get their eyes in the middle. Okay, so that's what you want. You want a little bit of white on the left and the right-hand side. It looks a lot more pleasant than something like that. I mean, this is half okay. It's not bad. But that would be better if she was looking straight down her nose, or in the direction of her nose. Okay. Models, when you speak to them, never take models with white garments. I always say to the models, if you pitch up at my studio and all you've got is white, you're going to end up wearing nothing. I will not shoot you with white garment. Obviously, that's extreme. That's what I tell them. I don't like trying to shoot with white garments. And you'll see why a little bit later on, where I say when you do your editing, your face of your model must always be the brightest part of your image. Now, if you've got white in your photograph, and it's normally white clothes or white jacket or whatever, that will always attract your attention. Now, if you look at the picture on the right, the first thing you look at is the white, whatever top that is, and you don't look at her face. When the picture goes up, you must look at her face, first of all. And that's why I say never use white. Look, there are models that pitch up with white, and that's all they've got, and I shoot them. I'm not derogatory about it. But I know as the session starts, I'm wasting my time. I won't use any of these shots. I just shoot a little bit and send the model some photographs, because they have made the effort to come. And then next time I know to tell the model, listen, no white, don't come with any white clothing, and try not to. If they come with white clothing, what I often do is I'll go into my wardrobe and I'll take out one of my double XL shirts or jackets. I'll say, yeah, let's play around with this, put this on you, make it look a bit baggy and uncomfortable or whatever, and try and hide any white that she is showing.
Again, I want to chip in for a second.
Yes.
The white clothing, if you're going for a black and white photograph, is that still not advisable?
I would say no. Yeah, I would say no. I would say no. Never use white clothing. Not even like a white cap or some like a white. Some of them put a headband on or a white scarf. Rather just tell them to take it off. I never use white.
Thank you.
Okay, now this is why I tell them not to use white, is the face must be the brightest area in the image. Now, with the new tools, you can use the radial mask or whatever, and you can brighten the face on its own quite nicely. But you have to do it subtly. The one on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, I haven't really played with her face. You can see I've burnt down her. I did a radial gradient just to cover her shoulders and a little bit of her hand, just to burn down that area, and I haven't really done anything on her face. On the right-hand side, I have enhanced her face a little bit. And when you look from one side to the next, you can see that the face on the right-hand side attracts you straight away. But you've got to be very careful about the brightness of the face that you create. If it's too bright, then it looks out of context with the rest of the photograph. So just be careful of that. But I always do use the radial mask, and I brighten up the model's face just a little bit. Okay, you'll always hear me say to the model, please tilt your head. And really what I want to get is the eyes to be at a slight diagonal. Not too much, but just a slight diagonal. Eyes that are straight on tend to look like a passport photo. So try and get them to tilt their head just a little bit. Sometimes you talk to the model and she just doesn't get it. You know, you say tilt your head and she'll turn her head to the right, or she'll lift her head up or right down or whatever. And really you want them just to tilt the eyes. You don't want the eyes on a horizontal plane. And if the model just doesn't do it or doesn't do it enough and you ask her 2 or 3 times, then just tilt your camera. Sometimes you've got to be careful of the background, but where the background is very plain, then you can tilt the camera very easily and just do that. So these are things that just go through my mind as I'm taking the photograph and as I'm trying to direct the model. That's what I look at. Okay, so I went on a shoot many years ago. The photographer who was Adrian Maguire at the time, he came to my studio and I was taking photographs, and he said to me, Cliffy, why are you taking flat photographs? I said, what are you talking about, flat photographs? He says, come here, let's take the model outside. He took the model outside where there was only sunlight, and he said, now, look at her face. Always, you will have one side of her face slightly brighter than the other side. It's just the way the sun works because it's one directional. We get into a studio and we put up 2 lights at 45 degrees and we put them both on quarter power or half power and we light her face evenly. You don't want to do that. You must have a slight difference in exposure from one side of her face to the other side. And if you don't get that in studio, then you must try and do it in post. Just burning the one side of her face. It just looks more natural. And when you're doing natural light, portraits outside or in the shade or whatever, then try and look for that that slightly darker side to her face. Make sure there is a bright and a dark. And I'm talking about 1 f-stop difference, between a half and 1 f-stop difference. It's not a huge difference. Here we've got probably 1.5 stops different, but that was just to explain the concept, really. I find when I'm taking portraits and I'm outside and we normally in shade or under a tree or whatever, you can keep, if you look at the model's eyes and you focus on the eyes in terms of light, as soon as you start to see the color in her eyes, then you know that you're starting to get some modeling on her face. If you look into her eyes and they're just black or mainly black, you can't really see the color, then you know you're getting flat lighting. So keep moving until suddenly you will see that her eyes just light up. And then you know, okay, now I've got the right lighting. Okay, a little bit about touching up. You'll see the one's obviously the same model on the left and the right-hand side. And you can see there's blemishes on her skin. So more and more, all I'm doing lately is in Photoshop, I take out the blemishes on her skin. And that's kind of all I'm doing. And you can see on the right-hand side that the blemishes are gone, but the skin texture is there. You won't see it too well on your computer, but if you blow it up, the skin texture will still be there. I'm trying not to adjust the texture of her skin. I use 2 different plugins, if you can call it that. One is called Delicious Retouch, and the other one is called Magic magic retouch or something like that. And when I use those, I put the strength of the brush down to 5, so that it just smooths the skin a little bit. If I don't get all the blemishes out, or her skin is very rough, and I take all the blemishes out, but I still think, it doesn't look great, I will use one of those plugins, and I will just use it at a very, very light touch. Because I think the worst thing for Camera Club is to have that plastic skin. As soon as you can't see any detail in the skin, you know you've gone too far. Then you delete it and you start all over again. The only time that you kind of do that very smooth plastic kind of look is if it's going to go into a magazine or on the cover of a magazine. There they want it, it works out well, that's what they want it for. But for Camera Club, don't do the plastic look. Okay, I think this is virtually the end of when I retouch. Right at the end, I will always, once I've done everything, I've sharpened and I've done whatever I want to, I've composed my photograph, I will always put a vignette on my portraits, virtually always. You can see on the right-hand side, it's just straight as it comes. I've burnt the corners in and whatever I wanted to do. And then I go and put a slight vignette on the right-hand side. You can see the corners are a little bit darker. The radiator in the front's a little bit darker. You can hardly see the toilet sign in the background. And the idea behind putting a vignette on your photographs is really to make the model pop. You want your focus to be on the model. And by putting on a vignette, you stop the eyes or your viewer's eyes from looking at the reflection in the window or looking at the toilet sign or whatever. Your focus will go straight to the model's face, and that's what you will concentrate on. When you do a vignette, and I know Peter will disagree with me, because I know you did a whole series on that, on the very strong vignettes. Try and make the vignette look as realistic or unobtrusive as possible. So when you look at the photograph, you say, yeah, that looks about realistic. Some vignettes, you see them very, very strongly, and you want to stay away from that. You want to fade it. You want to make the edges slowly fade in and out of the vignette. The one thing I can say is never, ever, ever in Camera Club use the reverse vignette or the white vignette. So where you see a photograph and you're putting a vignette on, you will see, instead of making the corners darker, it makes them lighter, like white or whatever. I've yet to have or see one judge say on a photograph, yes, I love that vignette, the white vignette. They hate it. So just don't do it. The only time it will work is when you're trying to create an old type of image, old cowboy, or maybe a 1920s, or even later, even 1920s. I wouldn't use it on an image that you're trying to create for the 1800s. Then you can use a slight white vignette on it, but otherwise never use a white vignette. So that's what I try to convey, is what I think as we're going through, or as I'm going through the shoot, what goes through my mind. Now, when you're doing a shoot, you don't have much, you can't think about much more than the few things that I've told you. So when you're planning your shoot, you must plan where your lights are going to be, what the atmosphere you want, and that kind of thing, and have that all set up before the model even arrives. Because once the model gets in front of your camera, you can't start thinking about, oh, my light is too high, or it's too low, or it's not set on the right power or whatever, or I don't actually want a red gel, I want an orange gel or whatever. All of that must be done and thought about beforehand. Because when you're taking a photo, you can only think about 4, 5, 6 things. And if you take too long with setting up each and every portrait that you take, the model will get very bored and you will see it in their eyes. Okay, maybe one last thing I'm going to leave you with. I follow a guy called Peter Coulson. And most of you probably have heard of him. Peter does amazing black and white portraits, an Australian. And you must look at, and he does a lot of videos. He puts it up on his YouTube. If you go to Peter Coulson and you Google YouTube, search YouTube and Peter Coulson, he's got a free YouTube channel. And often he talks about how he takes a photograph. It's a behind the scenes look of a photo shoot. And you must watch how he directs a model. He will never tell a model, put your hand on top of your head and turn your hand so that your fingers are not in a bunch and they're not in front of your face, they're behind your face. He never tells them those kind of things. Obviously, he doesn't work with those kind of models. The models he works with know those kind of things. All he talks about, his direction, way of directing, is to connect with the model, to get her to express their feelings through their eyes. When he sees the eyes are perfect, when he sees the expression he wants coming through her eyes, then he will take the photo. And he's quite ruthless with the models that he works with. He will say to the models, if you don't hear my shutter clicking, you know I don't like your pose. So change your pose if I haven't clicked the shutter. That's quite ruthless. I would never say that to a model. But that's what he does. And then he talks to them. He says, so how's your dog? Have you got a dog? What is it? Do you like your dog? What breed of dog would you like? Or what have you got on your bed? What do you cuddle at night? If he wants like a soft image, he'll talk about, do you have teddy bears or soft toys on your bed at night that you cuddle? And they will talk back and say, yeah, I've got an old vintage teddy bear. And you will see the expression will change straight away. So that's how he directs his models. Okay, I've spoken enough of what I think about. Thank you. That's my presentation.
Thanks, Cliffy. Anybody, please ask questions. Cliffy's here to answer them.
No, I think it was great. Thank you, Cliff.
Yeah, pleasure.
This was absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you, Cliffy. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Good.
I must tell you, Cliffy, this one model, the other Saturday, there was something wrong with the teeth. So, but I couldn't just tell her, close your mouth, I couldn't just approach her like that. So I just said, don't you want to just concentrate on your lips so I can take a photo of your beautiful lips, But, she was a beautiful model, but the teeth, there was just something wrong with the teeth.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's no good. I don't know what. It's no good complaining to the model or whatever. I just take the photo. It's like, okay, this is going to be a loss. Just take the photo. It's not going to be a club photo. Do as best you can, and then you send the model the photos, and then you delete them all off your hard drive. It does happen. It does happen. You will never. No, I was just going to say on our level, you will never get the perfect model.
Just you said not to wear white clothing, the models. What do you do with high key photos? How do you then get that high key look?
High key, yes, okay, that's very, very specific. But I wouldn't go for white. I would ask for cream. So you obviously use a very white background, and I would still use a cream as opposed to a white. Because you still want the face to be the brightest area. and you can highlight it higher than the white. It's also very difficult to light a white garment and still get the detail. So that's why I kind of shy away from white, because I always end up blowing it out and ending up with no detail in the white. So it's just a personal preference. Wedding dress, you're not going to get away with it. You're going to have to photograph a white wedding dress.
Yeah. Sorry, you said, what is that guy's surname, Peter?
Coulson. It's
How do you spell that?
Coulson. Coulson.
Okay, thanks.
Coulson.
Okay, thank you.
Petro, if you're interested, Petro Benson is having an open day at the end of August in Van der Bijl, I think it is. And she's asking that you kind of try and do a Peter Coulson look. So everyone will put their cameras on black and white, and you'll try and get a Peter Coulson look. And he's got a very specific way of presenting his photographs. It's nice to see. He's very good on black and white.
Sorry, Van der Bijl is not far.
No, it's not
She's
far.
facing
No.
Pittsburgh.
I'm listening.
Yeah, no, Van der Bijl is just around the corner.
Yes.
Ek wil net sê, sorry, ek het julle haartjie gesien. Julle haartjie werk, want die model het blonde hare, so daar's
Ja.
baie lig in daai hele foto. So jy weet, jou want dit is maar 'n feit dat jou oog gaan na die ligste plek op 'n foto. En ek verstaan wat Cliffy sê, maar julle foto's met julle blonde meisie met die blonde top aan, werk van die meisiekind het blonde hare. So jy weet, daar's 'n balans in die ding. Ek weet nie hoe nie, maar julle foto's lyk goed.
Ons het dit, ag, dankie daarin. Ja, dit is heerlik. Okay, ek sal gaan kyk, Ingrid.
Julle moet nou nie asseblief almal julle modelle wat in wit klere aangetrek is, se foto's gaan delete nie, hoor. Dit is maar net vir die toekoms, wat werk en wat werk nie. Okay, ons gaan oor na die, we're going to cross over to the cellphone judging. As van julle wil nie die selfoon kyk nie, dan kan julle gaan. Baie dankie. Maar ons Tina gaan nou die selfoon foto's wys. Dit gaan opkom, die digital scorecards. Julle weet hoe werk dit. You put your score in, you're not allowed to score for yourself. And then after we know what the score is, Cliffy will just give a short remark on the photo. Thank you, Cliffy.
Okay.
It's only
Good.
20 photos, so it will go chop chop.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Remember, these are cell phone photos, eh?
Yes, just remember that, they're cell phone photos.
Okay, will do.
Cliffy, the people were quite generous. There's 120 images given to
For the whole year, they entered for the whole year or what?
Nah, I'm joking. There's a few, there's about 20. The set subject was glass, like in drinking glass or
Okay.
Okay, I just want to get myself
Glasbal, lensbal, fotografie. Refractions.
I thought you're going to make me like a salon judge.
Yeah, no, we'll give you we're going to score the photo. You're just going to make the comments.
No,
But you're
that's
welcome to score with us, eh? But I know how you score 10, so yeah, be generous.
No, I won't score. I see at not Van der Bijl, at Kempton Park, what's it, F stop. they had 5,100 entries in their salon, which closed over the weekend, which is really good.
Sure, that's good, yeah.
Yeah. And it's all at the new rate, so it's R9. They get
Oh, you mean
R9.
Benoni? Benoni closed.
Was it
Sure.
Benoni?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was
Yeah, sorry,
Benoni.
yes, Benoni. Benoni.
Sure,
Yeah.
that's a lot of photos. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to sort myself out, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That must be
5,100 photos is well done to Benoni, yeah. At R9 and R14.
Yeah. Well, I see now PSSA have a new thing. The difference between the R9, and it's not exactly, but the difference between the R9 and the R14 goes to PSSA now. You have to pay that to them.
Yeah,
You as
that's
a
right.
club don't keep it, yeah.
I just want to know, what does PSSA do with the money? I want to see the financial statements.
Yeah, I've never seen those. No idea.
okay. There's okay, so Cliffy, there's a little score sheet that will come up in front of you. I can't see who
Okay.
give a score. I can just see there's maybe 4 of 8s and 10 of 2s or so.
Okay.
As soon as I give about 10-15 seconds and I close the poll so I can just do the calculation.
Okay. Okay. I'm with you.
This image is called Lily. Diane, wil jy vir die nuwe mense net explain terwyl ek hier
Yeah,
uitwerk?
no, I did explain to everybody. I told Andri what to do. She knows what to do. But if it's your own photo, you're not allowed to score. Can't score yourself.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, good.
Okay. Tina's just working at the.
Okay, this
there you
is
go. Okay.
Peter Thomas. He scored 11.
Yeah. Okay. So you just want a quick commentary?
Yeah, but yes.
Yeah, very nice arrangement of the flower. I think you've got the stamen or whatever nicely positioned. The composition is very nicely done. There's really nothing to complain about. I think possibly at the bottom, I would have preferred to see just a little bit more of the bottom stem and cut off just a little bit on the top. But other than that, the rendition of the flower is very good.
Thank you. Bruidslayer waterval. It's 11 for Nico. Just for information, Nico is all the way from Canada, on the western side of Canada, Vancouver.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. I don't know how you do it. I don't take cell phone photos. I don't even take selfies because I make a mess of them. But you seem to have got some movement in the water to such an extent it almost looks like ice. And if it's in Canada, it might actually be icicles that I'm actually looking at and not moving water. I don't actually know. But it's got that effect of movement, which I think is quite nice. And I quite like that there's a little bit of a diagonal to the center of interest, which always, if you're going to do movement or portray movement, if you can get it on a diagonal line as opposed to a horizontal or vertical line, it is a little bit better. Just looking purely at the photograph, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe cut a little bit off the left-hand side, so that you have your picture running from left to right as opposed to just in the middle. Thank you.
Thank you. The lake, red mountain ridge. The 12 for the end.
Yeah, lovely photo. I don't know how you managed to get such vibrant colors. So the water and the trees stand out so much nicer against the background. It almost looks as if you managed to get some shallow depth of field with the background slightly out of focus. Yeah, lovely colors. Nice sweeping dam. I like the reflections in the water. I can just see Tino in the middle of those ripples there, creating those ripples in the middle there. Well done on that. Yeah, nice, lovely photo.
Thank you. Our Tambo Southern Sun. The 10 for Karen.
Yeah, I don't, okay, obviously I don't do cell phone photographs, but I imagine the same rules will apply. It looks like this was taken possibly at night and quite late at night because the lights on the lawn and so on are quite bright. But I think what that does do is in the sky, in the dark areas, the camera will automatically try and equal out the light, and it creates a lot of noise, pixelation up in the sky. So I imagine if you're going to use a cell phone, be careful of using the cell phone at night. You're going to get kind of pixelation, which I see in the sky. But the center of interest, you've got the movement, and that's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. As daar 'n rookie trek, is daar 'n vuurtjie. The 10 for myself.
Okay, yeah, very nice composition. So very wide. I don't know what the parameters are of the cell phone, but I presume it looks like anywhere like about a 18 or a 16 millimeter lens. So you've got a nice wide panoramic type of view. The smoke in the sky, I think, is added into the photograph. If you didn't have that smoke, it would be a very bland sky. I like just it looks like it is about on a third, the foreground on a line of thirds. That's just enough to give you the road to lead in and whatever. If I can ask, do you post-process? Do you do editing on the photos afterwards or not?
Yes, yes. The members are allowed to use whatever software they want, Photoshop or Lightroom, just what they want.
Because I don't know how it works, but I presume just be careful of sharpening, because you can see those halos, that white halo up and down on the mountain. Maybe because it's such a small sensor that a very small amount of sharpening will create those halos. So try and not use too much of a sharpening tool on the cell phones when doing them.
Thank you. Op pad na nêrens. It's 11 for Amanda.
Yeah, lovely photograph. I think Amanda's got a very expensive cell phone because the quality is very good. Possibly an Apple or something like that. So the resolution, the quality of the photograph is very nice. You've got a little bit more detail, even in the shadows of the donkey. You've got some nice detail there, and you can see it. From a composition point of view, I like that you've got the guy or the shepherd on the one side, and the leading or following the animals. I think that adds a nice balance to the photograph. So the blue anorak against the brownish colors of the donkeys and the sea scent. I think my only thing is maybe you've got too much sky. Whenever you've got, especially with water, but your horizon line, try not to put your horizon line in the middle of the photo. Your horizon line should always be in the top third or on the bottom third, but try and stay away from having it in the middle of the photo. Thank you.
Thank you. Image name is D. It's 11 for Louis.
Yeah, actually, the photo is that good that I'm kind of looking at it and assessing it as if it had been taken with a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. So very nice composition and so on. So, and what's going through my mind is, does the white umbrella work here? I think it does. I think it does. It matches her dress to some extent, and the face is bright enough. So I think in this instance, it would be fine. What I do find a little jarring is the reddish, pinkish fan that she's holding in her hand. Maybe try and color match it better, because now my eye keeps going down to the pink. Maybe because it's brighter than her face. I just find my eyes keep going down. So try and color match, and not to have anything that jars in the photograph. Well done.
Thank you. Peter? The 12 for Peter Thomas.
Yeah, very nicely taken. Lovely gentleman to take. Lots of character, lots of lines in his face. Nice highlight in his eye. So that's very, very nicely done. The only thing, and it's a personal thing, is I don't like lots of headroom. So I would leave just a little bit of space above his head, and so I would cut off, I don't know, quite a bit, about 1 centimeter above his head, just to force your eye to look down at his face. But lovely photo.
Thank you. Verjaarsdag Ryker. The 10 for Nico.
Yeah, it's amazing. As the photograph came up, I looked, like, took a breath. Lovely colors, very bright. So it has a lot of impact as it goes up. It almost looks like you've cut it out, but certainly the jar at the bottom, you've cut it out and put it against the black backdrop. So it almost looks as if you're looking through a keyhole and you're looking at the photograph, which is really nice. Yeah, just for impact, once again, I would say cut a little bit off the bottom and cut half of it off at the top as well, so that you really concentrate on the flowers. But nicely done. I hope your wife got these flowers afterwards.
Yes, I think she did. Mountain View. It's 11 for Diane.
Yeah, very nicely put together and well seen. I like where the horizon line is on the top third of the photograph, so not too much of blank sky. And then I think you've got a nice balance between the house and the mountains in the background. So your balance is very nice. And the inclusion of the young lady or and her son, I presume. On the bottom in the red is a nice touch. It just draws your attention to the bottom of the photograph, and then you slowly look up. So well done.
Middelike rooi triptyk. That's a 11L for Karen.
Yeah, very nicely done. The concept and the execution of it has been very well done. If you hadn't done the triptych, then it would have just been a flower slapping in the middle of the photograph. But by using the three segments, you've done a very good job of breaking it up and creating more out of just a flower in the middle of it. So well done. I possibly would just ask why, and I think it's good. The middle panel is slightly lower than the others. I was wondering why you did that.
I don't know, it just came out that way. Because the poppy is taken from above, and it's sort of dipped in the middle. It's deeper down, and the sides of the flower is more up. The petals is more up, and the middle part is a little bit lower down. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Oh no, sunrise over Arpa Dam. It's a 12 for myself.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, very nice scene, well seen. The Golden Gate, I presume this is just outside, it's a dam outside Vicksburg. Yeah, very nicely done. I like the gold on the mountains, possibly late afternoon, just getting that golden hour coming through. No, mind you, there's mist on the water, so must have been early morning. Unless that was Diane smoking in the background behind the trees there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it would be early morning. But I knew these reeds or whatever as going from right to left. I don't know if you flipped the photograph. But yeah, and that's not over sharpening on the thing there. That's backlighting, which is very, very nicely captured. Makes them stand out lovely. Well done.
Yeah, you're right. The sun is from that side. I
Yes.
I flipped the picture to get
Okay.
the leading in from left to right. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. No, no one else would know unless you've been there.
Roller derby. $11 for Louis.
Yeah, very nice action shot. I think the lighting at the Portuguese Hall has been very well handled. The action in the middle, I think, is fantastic, especially the lady in the white shirt with her arms out. It looks like she's plowing through the opposition there. So I think I like the action, which is very nicely. Just from my own perspective, to try and concentrate more on the action in the middle. On the left-hand side, I would have cut out that one referee. I would have cut him out just to try and force your vision to go closer to the middle, and then possibly just look at the horizontal lines that tend to run out or run down from left to right. I was an accountant in my previous life, and I kind of would have preferred the lines to be straight as opposed to running down a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the last one of the open. So we're going to go to the set subject.
Okay.
Titel hierso is glasbal. It's a 12 for Peter.
Yeah, very nice use of the glass ball. About 2 years ago, my wife gave me one of these glass balls for Christmas. And at the time, it was very much a rage to use the glass ball. And I think Peter's used it well here. I don't know how, it might be a different kind of glass ball, but I don't know how you got the photo reflected on the surface, the photo, the flowers and the bubbles and whatever, and lovely colors, yeah. And I think it's not against a plain background. You've got that interesting mesh type background or base to the photographs. Yeah, well done.
I just have to tell you something. A while ago, my wife Doreen and I went to China Mall, and she went into a shop and she asked the guy, "Do you have glass balls?" I just collapsed.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
So that was
Lekker
embarrassing.
makkelijk.
Ja, nee. Oké, volgende een trein in die glasbal. So L11 for Nico.
Yeah, it's a very nice use of the glass ball. So that's nice and sharp. The train is nice and sharp there, and then it goes out of focus at the background, and you've even got some bokeh in the trees on the top left-hand corner. So and the inclusion of your fingers holding the ball gives it a nice base. The only thing I debated, or maybe I'd like to see, is two different types of shots. Maybe one of a much more closer look at the glass ball, and then one photograph like this. I think both would work out well. Thank you.
Rubicon reflection. So 10 for Diane.
Yeah, very nicely done. To get the reflection, the colors inside the glass, with presumably some water or whatever in the glass, but filling that inside of the glass, very, very, very nicely done. It reminded me a little bit of, I'm not too sure if you know, on Facebook TV, there's a local guy called Carl Daniels. I think he calls himself KJ Daniels Photography or KJD Photography. And on a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, every Tuesday night, he's a local guy, and he works for Godox, so he uses Godox lights. And he does, last week he did lighting a wine bottle, you know, how they would do it for a commercial. So maybe if you've got nothing to do on a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, can go on to Carl Daniels Photography and just watch his channel. I quite like the channel because he's not a perfectionist. He makes mistakes and he says, "Oh, that didn't work. Let's try something else." And he knocks his camera over and all kinds of. It's a little bit of a light photographic lesson. But yeah, well done.
Thank you. Paisley Ball.
Yeah, Yeah, very nicely done. I like the concept, the idea, and the execution. Very, very nicely done. I like the colors on the outside, and then the more black and white type images in the middle. Yeah, very nicely done. Well done.
Skink 'n glasie. It's a 10 for myself.
Yeah, very nice. Lots of color. Very much a street photography kind of thing, incorporating the glass. And I think placing the red jug in the middle with the, I don't know, sangria or whatever in it. Very, very dominant kind of position. And then the people at the outdoor restaurant enjoying their meal or whatever. Yeah, so it's been thought out. It's well done. I like it.
Thank you. Flowers behind the bowl. The 10 for Louis.
Yeah, I like the idea of the flowers behind the bowl. It looks like almost they are in the bowl. So that's very, very nicely done. I think you could have improved the composition because now the bowl is a little bit central and big in the subject, and I know that's your set subject. Just as a photograph, I would have preferred to have not seen the top of the bowl and just seen the flowers down the bottom, more as like a panorama. But you know, for the set subject, I think it's done well.
Thank you. Glazed over.
This is our last image.
Okay.
That's a 12 for Gemma.
Yeah, I really like the impact of the color as the photograph comes up, and you've kind of got the color harmony right. So there's nothing jarring about it. The orange and the greens go well together, and that goes well together with the kind of faded green in the background. So I think you've done very well there. The only thing possibly to improve the photograph a little bit is to cut off the top of the photograph just above the base of the glass. I think it would have made it just a little bit more impactful, but as is, very well done, well seen.
Thank you. So look, yeah. Okay, so on the open is Peter Thomas. Thomas has a highest score there. So Peter, congratulations.
Well done.
Peter with the image Peter. And I think here we have Peter again. Yeah.
Yeah.
11.11.